I have two thoughts for you today. The first is on problem solving, and the second is on not giving up. So let's take the first, the problem solving. You have a problem. I have a problem. We all have problems. Problems are a part of our daily lives. So you are in search of a solution. If you're like me, problem means let's find a solution. So you find one that works. It works. At least it works one time. And then you make a mental record of how you solved that problem. And maybe that solution works the next time on another problem. And then maybe another time comes up and that particular solution doesn't work. But you begin to narrow it down and you make this mental record and start doing analysis and observation related to that solution. Was it a fluke or is it repeatable? Now, that's the second criteria for whether you have actually found a good solution for problem solving. The first is, did it work? And the second is it repeatable, at least some of the time and under certain circumstances? And are you able to identify those circumstances? And then I think there's a third criteria that comes into play at some point, and that is, can you begin to articulate a rationale for why that solution works? Is there a reason? So you've got three things if you're tracking with me. The first is, did it work? The second is, did it work more than once? Is it repeatable, transferable to other similar situations? And what are those similar situations? And third is there any unifying thought that provides a rationale for why it works? Now, the second thing I want to talk about is not giving up, because I've come to the conviction that most problems should not lead to resignation. They're just obstacles. Now, sometimes sometimes you pause and sometimes you quit. But you quit if you're going in the wrong direction or if it's fruitless. But most of the time when we quit, we could keep going. Now I play a game on my telephone, on my smartphone. I don't play many games on my smartphone. One of them is I solve jigsaw puzzles. And I like to solve jigsaw puzzles with 144 pieces. Very specifically, that works into my time frame, and that is the mental exercise I want to do. You can give me less, you can give me more, but I really want that 144 piece puzzle. Now, about the only other game I play on my smartphone is Freecell. Freecell is a game of solitaire, and I'm not going to take the time to describe it because many of you play it. But I refuse to lose. Now, take that. I refuse to lose. Now, what are you going to do in your problem solving? I suggest that you refuse to lose. Now, there's a time when maybe you put a comma in it, maybe you put a period on it, maybe you move on. But most of the time, refuse to lose. Now, what is it about free cell that lends itself there? Well, in the first place, I love the game because I'm not competing against another human being. Everybody can win at the game. Nobody has to lose. I don't want my winning to depend upon someone else's losing. That's just a disposition that I carry with me through life. I will play games like that occasionally, but that is not a life game for me. causing someone else to lose so I can win. And it's not necessary most of the time. Most of the time, we're looking for a win-win. Well, in Freecell, you can keep doing that. And the other thing about it is it's a very forgiving game. If you go the wrong way, you can go back. There's a backspace in the game. Now, I realize that some people play the game without a backspace, but I think that in life, you have the capacity to correct your errors. There are a lot of things about the game that provide metaphors for life, like thinking ahead, thinking this move will lead here and there and the next, and there are various ways of scorekeeping, and you can time your game. But I'm setting out to win. I don't like to quit at that game until I win. It's not over until I win. So I play it with the capacity to backspace, to correct my errors. Now, I realize that in life there are some errors we cannot correct. We cannot rebuild the relationship with someone who has died. We can't fix some things that are broken. However, in many cases, more cases than we think, we can go back and recognize where we went wrong and correct our errors. Now, in Freecell, you can go back, all the way to the beginning if you need to. I started this thing wrong. But generally, going back 3 or 4 spaces is enough to correct your error. And so it is in life. You can go back and see, where did I go wrong and how did I solve the problem? And that's where you look at the rationale, you look at the repeatable solutions, but sometimes it's just one time, one solution. So I've given you a couple of thoughts today. What are you going to do with them? What are the problems you're struggling with? What are the solutions you're looking for? What is the analysis that's going on in your mind? What mental exercises will work for you the way Freecell and jigsaw puzzles work for me to teach me to be a better problem solver? Because problems are not the end of it all. Problems are just obstacles in the way. They're just issues that need resolution, and we can learn from them, and we must learn from them. So again, what are you going to do with this? I'll try to think of some questions to put in the Substack that will allow you to think through this and make application here. But for now, I think that's enough for you to listen to and enough for you to think about.